Forever. Dog.
Hi, everyone. I'm Delta.
And I'm Raja, and welcome to a new episode of Very That. Yes, Very That.
Ooh.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Ow.
Ay, wait.
Very That.
She's so bad.
Oh, honey.
But why is she so very that?
Very That.
Aww. This is a podcast where we ruminate, we luxuriate, we are legendary, we are legendary. We talk about whatever's on our mind and things that happened a long time ago when we were just wee children in LA.
I love the word ruminate.
I do too.
Ruminate. Yeah.
I do
If
too.
I ever start a interior design firm, I'm going to call it Ruminate.
Will you give RuPaul a portion of your proceeds?
Repulmonate.
Mm-hmm. Everything is, related to that. Everything is.
Right.
Right. So.
Ru, yeah.
Yeah.
All that Ru. Yeah.
But here we are. Well, I would think by now we would be at the end of this pandemic. Not that we all knew how long it was going to last, but you would think after all these months of people saying like, look, now we have colors and now you're in the red zone and the purple zone and the yellow zone and all you have to do is be good and you can get your nails done and all you have to do is be good and we'll open up Disneyland. And then everyone was like, cool. And then now we're up Schitt's Creek again. And not the TV show, like literally a creek of shit.
Yeah, remember when the president was like, yeah, we're going to be fine by Easter.
Oh, completely.
Okay, Easter.
Oh, my
it's
God.
It's like fucking, today is November 2nd. This episode is airing on November 2nd, which is, 2 months away from the year ending.
Well,
Right.
and do you remember, too, when people were like, girl, this is not going to affect Halloween whatsoever. We are saving Halloween. Bitch, we knew then there was no saving Halloween. That's not possible.
But
So-
we it's just a matter of adjusting to everything, and I think we did kind of save Halloween in a bit in a way, because it's just there's no way of avoiding Halloween. There's just no way of avoiding Halloween. Halloween must happen. Halloween will not happen did not happen in the same way this year. But you know what? I still love it. It's still PSL season right now. It's gonna be that until when did you say? After. There was a certain day that you said after Christmas, Three Kings Day. 3 Kings Day. When is that?
Well, listen, Three Kings, is that the 13th, maybe? The 13th of January?
Of January?
I think so, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Halloween, I feel like, I'm not going to be able to dress up like a sexy nun and go win $100 at a bar contest. So because of that, Halloween is a little bit over. So I might spend Halloween putting up the Christmas tree because you know how much I love Halloween, but I really love Christmas. For me, the second Halloween's over, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
It is Christmas. I respect everyone for celebrating differently. When I say I celebrate Christmas, I just mean the season of giving and the idea. I like the smells and the foods and the spirit of all of that. And I think since we're all kind of sticking around home, what more reason not to sort of explore more cooking and more. Last year we actually, my family makes tamales every year for Christmas time, and I love them to death.
But you never give me none.
Because I eat them all.
Because you eat them all. That's what it is.
But last year we decided to do like specialty, like the ingredients that nobody else would try in our family. So we did like some that had like calabacitas in them, and we did ones of hamburger, and we took.
I like hamburger,
right? And people were like, "Oh, sick! Like we just want red or green. Like why are you doing all that?" But it was fun. Whatever. It's just in fun,
There used to be this farmer's market that I went to in Hollywood. God, where was it? Like Cahuenga. I'm not even sure if it's still there, but this was like at the beginning of like gentrification and like people mixing cultures, if you will. And there was a stand that used to make gourmet, quote unquote, gourmet tamales, and
I want them all.
it had like goat cheese and currant in it.
Yes, yes,
I'm okay with
yes.
that. Like anything
I'm great with it.
surrounded, I think I'm salivating now thinking about it. Like anything that's surrounded by that masa and like
Sure.
steamed, and then eventually I'm just gonna throw a bunch of red fucking sauce anyway.
Yes.
Speaking of like favorite foods, there's literally a liquor store that I walk to every day. Every day. I couldn't tell you. I've been living here in Koreatown for now almost 4 years. I couldn't tell you the guys' names that work in there, but every day I go in there and I get myself a bottle of wine, a pack of American spirits, and today I got myself some Takis.
Okay.
Oh, I got not just one kind, because there's the original Takis, which now come in dynamite chile limon. But I got these blue ones, and the reason why, like, okay, first of all, I love Takis because, for people who are listening to us that don't live in Southern California or don't know what a fucking Taki is, it is essentially a corn-based crisp or chip, and it's rolled,
Right.
and so that you can wear them as fingernails and eat them off each finger if you wanted to.
Right.
But my obsession with Takis of recent is because I am obsessed with ASMR.
Right, I know you are.
And there's this girl named ASMR Fam. She's an Asian girl that I follow on Instagram, but she must live here in Southern California because some of the gigs that she throws in her mouth and makes noises to is very particular. And one in particular that I was watching last night, I've seen her do it before, is she takes the fat jalapenos, and then you empty it out. And then you throw some cream cheese. You like push the cream cheese all up in it, and then a full-on taki right in there.
It's ready.
You impregnate it with cream cheese taki, and then you stick it in your mouth, and then you get the jalapeno, the crunch from the taki, and the crunch from the jalapeno, and the creaminess. And I'm ready to do it. So I got 2 bags here.
We can't go one step further and fry this.
So it's a jalapeno popper with a taki, but will you lose the crunch though if you deep fry the taki in the oil? See, these are all the problems that I have during the pandemic.
I see what you're saying.
People ask me how I'm doing, and I'm like, I gotta figure out how to eat this jalapeno pepper.
I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well. That's how I'm doing. I'm not doing well.
The other part in this recipe is, do I keep the seeds in? Because the seeds in a jalapeno is what keeps it like hot.
Yeah, but listen, that's a weird question because I know you like seed.
I like my seed in.
I know you like your seed in.
You're
grateful for seed.
I like to be seated in
deep,
all up in my Takis.
Oh, we go deep and we don't get no sleep. Listen.
I'm excited about my Takis, and that is really, other than talking to you today, this is really my only excitement. So,
well, the thing is, the election is, not to transition weird, but we were talking about, you said like the pandemic, these are your problems, but the election is coming to an end. The election is coming to an end. And, people keep saying like, because we are surrounded with people who are like-minded for the most part. People keep saying like, it's going to be fine. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him in office anymore. But remember, people got complacent in the last election and were like, we're good. But we were good in the sense that, he didn't win the popular vote. The Electoral College voted a certain way. And, oh my gosh, do we have 4 more years of this?
I don't know.
Honestly, we have 15 days to find out.
Yeah, well, we'll find out the week this airs. Really, I'm leaving actually on the 4th, the day after the election, to Puerto Vallarta, just to like. I have some friends that live there, and my doctor where I get my fillers and my what's it called, Botox is there. I just need to get out of town, and I feel safe with going on a flight for 3 hours rather than a 6-hour flight across country. It seems like flying is okay these days, but it's close enough. It's cheap enough. I was able to use whatever's left of my miles, because I think at this point, since we've done no travel at all this year, whatever miles I have has depleted or diminished. I don't know. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to go figure it out for 2 weeks in Mexico and see what happens here in America. I'm concerned because I see a lot of propaganda online of the good boys all, waiting for Trump to give them the signal for a civil war. And I that could happen. Shit is happening all over the world. I'm looking at things that are happening in Nigeria. I'm looking at things that are happening in Bolivia, and I'm just like, man, the world is fucked up. And I'm gonna check out what happens in America for at least 2 weeks in Puerto Vallarta, and I'm just gonna sit there and see what happens, because who knows? Who knows what can happen?
I think it's actually pronounced Puerto Vallarta. Actually, you're
well.
Vallarta.
I'm
There's
just
two L's.
I'm just trying to be like the local newscasters here, because in Southern California, you don't fuck around. If you've got a Latinx, Hispanic, Chicano last name, you better pronounce it correctly. If you are the weather girl, or if you are a news reporter, you'd be like, what if you're
a weather beaten hoochie bitch?
Then you would be like, hi, I'm weather beaten's hoochie bitch, and my name is Delta Villarreal. Not Villarreal. You're
Villarreal. Fucking stupid.
You look stunned, girl. I
Thanks.
keep thinking that I'm gonna get in drag again for these things, but then like I said, it's the pandemic.
It's the pandemic. Yeah, it's the pandemic that keeps you where you are. Well, listen, I mean, the pandemic is what keeps me like this, because I have, people have, we've talked about OnlyFans, and everything is online content. And so I'm just figuring out a way where I can, sort of parlay this luxuriating into something more. Like, I've been spraying my perfume on myself, but it really just hits the wall. And I don't know. Can't I be some sort of ambassador from a sofa? I feel like I could. I feel like somebody out there wants me to, I don't know, eat their charcuterie board and be like, ooh, this is how you do it. I love your item. I love your, come on. Like, I'm verbose.
I love these words: verbose, charcuterie, parlay, and luxuriating. All of those.
Those are my those are when I used to be on dating apps. Those are the words that I would put in my description.
Verbose at the top.
Charcuterie. That's actually my name. Is Charlotte Couterie.
Meats and cheeses, darling.
Yeah, Charlotte Couterie. Well, we are going to take a little break, and we will be right back with Very Much.
Okay, so I know it's November, and it's fall officially. It's fall.
OPCI.
And I know that people call it sweater weather, but I call it more leather weather, because I don't really have that. I don't really have that many sweaters. I've been cleaning my apartment and like reorganizing, and I don't really have that many sweaters. How weird. I have hoodies. I have sweatshirts, but I don't have like a lot of sweaters. Like I think sweaters is going to be my new shopping thing during this winter and fall.
Well, you are a leather person, for sure.
I like leather. I love leather. I have an entire closet just dedicated to just all leather. I'm looking at it right now because it's right there.
And you like jackets a lot.
I do. I love leather jackets. I love motorcycle jackets. So I'm in leather weather right now. I'm in leather weather.
I do love sweaters, and I love sort of like kind of dad sweaters. Like I talked about my favorite,
like
color
a Cosby, like a Bill Cosby sweater.
No, not there, but I really
Mr. Rogers.
Maybe, yes, I do have some of those. I really like these sweaters that maybe are very dated, but they're like sort of almost like a cowl, and the collar kind of lifts up a bit. Right? I like that, but I also love like something sweatery and poncho-y. Like I love that.
Oh, I got lots of ponchos. I got ponchos. I got hoodies, but I don't have like a lot. Like I maybe have like probably about like 10 good sweaters that I like.
That's a lot of sweaters.
Is that?
Isn't it?
Have you been to my apartment recently?
No.
10 sweaters does not make sense for me. I need like 30.
Well, then you've got 20 more to go. I mean,
Here I go. Here I
are you going to go
go.
to, do you miss going to Jet Rag and going to that, like, what was it? Like the Sunday sidewalk sale? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's a sale where they would just kind of just put a mound, a pile of clothes,
Tons.
and then you basically just jump in, you grab, and it was always me and a few local people, but a lot of Japanese kids there because they would get the good stuff, and they were small and quick and nimble. And
Yep.
polite at the same time, and but they were also grabbing. We were all grabbing. We were
Right.
getting what we wanted out of it. I miss that so much. Yeah, I need that. I need that.
You need a, well, listen, we have a couple of letters to read.
Oh, okay. We're
Yeah.
going right to it. Okay.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
the first letter says, "Hello, ladies."
Ladies.
Oh, Delta, thank you for mentioning the good time you had at the DC Eagle when we hosted you for Valentine's Day 2019. I was happy to finally be able to make that
Mm.
happen. Sadly, the DC Eagle has announced it will not be reopening soon after the pandemic began, and the business is currently going into bankruptcy proceedings.
Oh my
The
God.
building in question has been sold, but yes, it does have a long history, initially being built as a sausage factory in the early 1900s. This is the place I was telling you that I thought was haunted because it was like I
Mm-hmm.
called it a butcher, but it was a sausage factory. The name
How
of the DC,
authentic for an eagle to be a former sausage factory
right,
because it's just
it's still a sausage factory.
all eagles are.
Yeah. The name of the DC Eagle trademark website and all social media accounts are on the auction block through November 12th. So maybe someone will buy it and give the business a new life. Nonetheless, I look forward to bringing you back to DC on the other side of the pandemic. It was a joy hosting you, Miguel, former promotions manager at the DC Eagle. Well, that's a very sweet letter because I did, in fact, have a good time. But this is relating to what we were talking about with the haunted places, right? And
Mm.
but this is interesting because we've also been talking about how many things have turned into online content and how hard it's been for businesses to reopen in the pandemic, not just because everything has to take place outside, but because that outside also is a limited capacity.
Mhm.
And while this is happening in the middle of the summer, many places like here in Southern California, we've spent the last few months at close to 100 degrees, if not, a few degrees over or under, and people are just not wanting to go out and dine in that kind of heat when there's not
Mhm.
when what we're used to. So it's becoming used to something new. But to hear something like this, an institution that many queer people have looked forward to for socializing as well as entertainment. This is so sad to hear. We've heard of, again, play here in LA, a couple of places. Um, it's just so sad.
Rage is closed. Flaming Saddles here in LA, and now what breaks my heart the hardest is the Gold Coast has closed.
Yes, yes,
That to me, like when you see online and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the end of an era." This diner closed or this deli closed or this club closed. For me personally, uh La Jolla Street, which is the street that I used to live on,
right.
Vaseline Alley, Circus of Books is gone now, which has been reopened by Chichi LaRue as its own separate thing, but still keeps the integrity of the building and the spot that it's at. But the closing of the Gold Coast breaks my heart because even after I moved out of West Hollywood and while I lived in West Hollywood, it was one of the few places where I knew that I would be able to just sit my ass down on a bar stool,
Hmm.
have conversations with people who are within my age group or even older, so much older that we used to joke about it and call it the old coast, the
Right.
mold coast, the troll coast. It was the bar where the older were well not yeah, yeah, the older, more mature people who just wanted to sit down and have a drink and conversation would go to, and my heart is completely broken that it is
Yeah.
gone. And now I'm just going to continue drinking at home as I normally do.
Well, but what you're saying is true. I mean, we talked about, I think I was talking about the idea that, when we drive down Santa Monica Boulevard, for instance, not that we've done it anytime recently because we've all been home, but when you do that, you can just remember. It's like the ghosts of the past, where you're like, oh, remember when we used to go to French Market, or remember when we used to.
Oh.
Over here is where the Del Taco was, and Lola used to work at Del Taco across the street from Circus, and
Mm-hmm.
you think of all these
Mm-hmm.
places, and you're like, the people that are here are making new memories and having a good time, but you think, wow, the ghosts are here. Like I can remember, I can still hear the music that was on, Power 106 at the time, or the music that was on
Mm-hmm.
like Kiss FM, getting off the freeway going, oh, I'm going to the club and I look good and I feel
Mm-hmm.
good. And it's like those memories are so gone. It's such a weird feeling. And now with this pandemic, the idea that not only are businesses closing because they're like, oh, we're just ready to wrap it up. They're forced to wrap it up. It's not even something where they're like, I want to try something new. They have to try something new.
Yeah,
There's nothing left.
it's tragic. I'm gonna miss a lot of these places. I miss, I grew up in the Cheers generation of
Right.
where, the idea to me of going into a bar was where everybody knew your name, where you walked in and everyone's like, hey Raja, your
Right.
usual, and they'd pour the drink and they'd, the Coke dealer would come up and be like, hey, I
Oh.
got some good, and then you go to the, whatever. It's whatever. It's just whatever. None of that will be the same after this is all over. And
Right.
I hope that we get some swift and some results, because there's a
Well,
lot
we're holding
of,
on.
we are holding on. Today is Day of the Dead. November 2nd is the
Mhm.
end of Day of the Dead, which is
Yeah.
kind of begins in Halloween. And I guess this will sort of help us lead us into the next part of our conversation. I really, when we were texting each other about what we were going to talk about, this to me was very important, because this year significantly we've lost a lot of people. And
Yeah.
if you don't understand what Day of the Dead is, or in Mexico, they call it Dia de los Muertos. It's just a time to respect the dead. It isn't macabre, it isn't scary, it isn't spooky, it isn't about zombies, but mostly it is about honoring the people that
Mhm.
have left us. And I can list a few that people would recognize immediately. People like Lady Red Couture of Hey Queen TV. We've lost Chichi Devane, which is very tragic. Very young,
Mhm.
talented performer this year. For us, each other, we lost a very good friend of ours, Simone Simmons, who. How did that happen? That just happened so rapidly, and is it because we're getting older that people are dying more, and we have this different appreciation? I'm just, I.
It's funny you say that, because this year we've heard a lot about a lot of tragic deaths, of course, but a lot of tragic deaths of black trans women.
Mhm.
And when you hear about someone passing from a medical issue or something, sometimes because of this year, such a not that this is the only year that black trans women have been dying, because they've been dying left and right, and and people in power don't seem to care.
Mhm.
But when I think of something like this, I also think of like the significance of how many black people and or people of color, and queer people are dying, not just from something tragic, not being maimed, but by something medical. And are these people also falling to the wayside? Are we falling to the wayside also because not having the same access to medical care? Is that not also a crime?
Wow.
Is that not also the same? It's not the same, but is that not also significant that Simone was not the victim of a violent crime, but Simone maybe did not have the same access. Lady Red Couture, Chichi Devane, these are all people that are significant and had stories to tell, and did story. And I could go on and on and on about my experiences with Chichi and the platform that Lady Red helped create. A place where I personally was able to share stories about things that happened in my drag career that I would not have had in anybody else's outlet. That was the
Mhm.
only outlet. And Chi-Chi, I worked with Chi-Chi at, we did AIDS Walk. We did the after show for AIDS Walk several years in LA and in San Francisco. Simone, the first person to ever give me a styled wig. The first
Oh,
person ever,
yes.
ever, ever.
She gave you a
And
big Ross, girl. She loved
she
a big
did.
full Ross. There was no one who was more obsessed with dolls and wigs than Simone,
Yeah.
honey.
And that's the
She
thing,
had.
the things that we learn about these people. Simone was a
Mm-hmm.
doll maker. Simone was
Mm-hmm.
a wig maker. Simone,
Mm-hmm.
Chi-Chi was just these things that these people that all of us
Simone was making units before they were even referred to as units.
Right, right. I just think when we talk about people being marginalized and we talk about the loss of so many people, especially these three people of color, these three Black uh, folks, men and women,
Queer.
queer people, their lives mattered and their stories mattered and are part of this quilt. And I believe were marginalized people not because they saw themselves as victims by any means, but I believe those deaths are partly everyone's responsible for that. Everyone in power is responsible for these things that have happened.
Well, as we know, everyone knows that death is inevitable, and this is not meant to be a dark sort of episode in any way. We're just really kind of reminiscing and discussing, where our friends are, where they're at in the other realm.
Well, where are you?
Right
What
now,
realm are you in?
Right now, TBH, girl, I got my Takis. I'm talking to you, my friend. I got some wine. I'm in heaven. So
Do you know that? Can I be honest with you about something?
dancing in heaven,
Something that I should have told you earlier that I didn't tell you, and I think I'm gonna get some heat for. But
Well, here we go.
I've
I'm
never
scared.
ever. You're gonna be mad. I've never ever eaten a taki in my whole life. I promise you, I have not.
What do
I've
you
eaten a shit ton of
mean?
chips. I've eaten a lot of chips. I've never
Mhm.
eaten taki. I know what they are, but I've never eaten them in my whole life.
Okay,
Because
how I would describe it is it's like a Frito.
which is my favorite.
Okay, so it's a Frito, but it's just shaped differently, and then they have the variety of flavors that a Dorito would have.
Okay. So then
Okay?
I'll just have Doritos.
No. Then you'd have to have, if you have a Taki, you have a Dorito and a Frito together. You get the texture of a Frito.
Oh, I'm
You know how
feeling it.
Fritos are kind of thick, and a Dorito is
Yeah.
kind of thin, and it thin and crispy, whereas a Taki has a bit more of an al dente bite to it. It's just like it's a little tougher, and it's loaded with some sort of powdered flavoring that just makes all the magic.
Well, my go-to chips at the liquor store would be plain Fritos or chili cheese Fritos, or back in the day they had ranch Fritos. But I also like
Mm.
I like Munchos. Remember Munchos?
Oh, that has everything in it. It has a
I
pretzel. It has
no, not those,
not
not the Munchie mix.
not munchies.
Munchos, the
Mhm.
the fried potatoy thing. But I also love Bugles. Do you remember Bugles?
It's kind of like a bugle.
Okay,
It really
then I'm
is
on
a
board.
bugle. It's a bugle.
I'm
That's
on
what it is.
board
It's a bugle, but like the flavors.
with the
Whatever
flavors.
with the flavors. But when they roll it around in the flavors, it's what makes it the taki.
Well, with that, I mean, I guess we'll take a little break, and I will maybe go to. There is a liquor store by my apartment, so maybe I'll go get some Takis. But we will be right back.
Yes, we will.
Well, we are back. I did not get any Takis, but we are back, and we have another picture that was submitted, and it's for our sea something. Which, again, maybe I shouldn't say again. Maybe for the first time, we say sea something because we are talking about. We use that term and that enunciation specifically with an endearment because we both come from families where that type of enunciation is spoken. We've been raised around that. So if anyone is offended, so sorry that you're offended, but you're not privy to
Kiss it.
specifically where we were raised
Kiss
or
it.
who was
Yeah.
raised us. You're talking
Precisely.
you're talking to a 44-year-old Chicano man.
A 46 over here, Asian. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
tell me what I know and where I've been. Don't
Right.
tell me. So everyone,
Because I
calm
know where
down.
I've been.
Because I see something.
And I know where I've been. All right, so this picture, God, the thing is, like, I need this. I would still wear this actually.
I would still wear that if I could fit into it. Hold on, let me look at this closer.
Oh, this my green top. You definitely fit into it now.
Yeah, that green top is definitely my like outfit choice that I would wear, but that pink dress that I'm wearing is actually probably in the trash somewhere. There was a point in my life where something like that looked nice on me and it was simple enough and it was its own statement, and that is
I love it.
obviously it's another photo of us at Rage,
Mhm.
which was outrageous. And who's
Um,
that? Sonique and
that's
Chad?
gorgeous. That's gorgeous, Sonique and gorgeous Chad. And I
Gorgeous.
mean, I don't remember what year it is, but you would be able to know what year this is based on your hair because
I know, which makes me like, I saw this picture online. Somebody had put it up. And I was like, God, I miss having short hair and I'm ready for it. That's why I've got these like little buns in my hair because this is the last time I'm going to be able to do these buns.
oh, you're
I'm going to,
sectioning your hair for a haircut.
I'm pretty much, I need to get rid of the hair. I'm tired of it. I'm not one to kind of hang on to a signature look, you know?
You know, we could do actually a full like a chapter of whether it's in a book or in a video, and we could copy. Do you ever watch Law and Order Special Victims Unit on your subscription?
Absolutely not. All
So
of my exes, all of those shows, that and the Gung Gung, what's that show?
Law and
The
Order.
Is that Law and Order? What's
Yeah,
the
there's
other one?
different. There's different. It's a franchise. So there's Law and
Okay,
Order
but there's
Special
another one.
Victims
There's
Unit,
the
Criminal
N
Intent.
NCIS and I don't know. I'm not as fascinated by it, but yeah, I guess I don't
Well,
know. What were you saying?
what I'm getting
Get
at
to it.
is that they like to have marathons that they theme around their episodes. So they have one that is it's called Locks and Loaded, and it's the hairstyles of Mariska Hargitay. I kid you not. So we should do the Raja Locks and Loaded.
Please,
And this
you
would,
are Mariska Hargitay. That is the best drag name in the world.
we have the
Like,
same birthday. You know, her mother is Jane Mansfield. Mariska Hargitay's mother is Jane
what?
Mansfield, and Mickey Hargitay. Yeah, and
God,
we share the same birthday.
I just can't wrap my head around that.
Well, it is. If you look at her face, she totally looks like Jane Mansfield. I mean,
I
totally
guess
looks like her
so.
mother.
Yeah. I just can't. Really?
Yeah, but this
Let me
picture,
think
I mean,
about
I'm
it.
telling
Okay.
you, I can remember this wig that Chad is wearing. Everyone at the time had this wig. Well, you didn't, because you were the only one in Dreamgirls at the time that had a lace front because you had a Wigs by Vanity before anybody in Dreamgirls had a Wigs by Vanity. But we used to wear these by Magic Touch, and they were called the Princess. And it was the wig. It was that like 1-inch barrel wave, and then
Uh-huh.
this Nancy O'Dell kind of thing. And then of course Sonique. Sonique stays gorgeous, of course.
Always.
So sexy.
She's just consistently just gorge.
Well, there's something so innocent about Sonique that I love. Like, she's provocative and she's evocative, but she is there's an innocence about her where she kind of knows she knows what you're looking at, you know, and I like that. She has a power about her that I really, really love.
Absolutely.
Actually, this wig that I'm wearing here, I used to love this wig for a minute, and I question the proportion storyline now, but I love this wig, and I remember I wore it when we did the Heathers. We did the Heathers release of Lady Marmalade across the street from the Abbey that used to be the factory, but I don't know what it was at the time. And I lost that wig there. That night I lost that wig. Maybe good riddance.
Can I tell you, I have lost at least 2 to 3 wigs at the factory. Is that place still open? Oh my God.
Well, the building I think still exists, but I always feel like everything in that area, when it's no longer a nightclub or it's no longer a space you once knew, it somehow becomes an interior decoration store. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, this is now tiles. We sell tiles here, or we sell
I'm done
sofas.
With you.
That's what it is. That's what
oh my
it is.
God, it is so fucking true. But there's also on that same block, there's also the Christian Louboutin store, there's Maxfield, there's Chrome Hearts, there's also a lot of high-end things there as well.
Well, let's really zoom in on this picture, and we need to talk about something. Let's talk about everybody's shoes in this picture. I don't know if you can see. Chad has on the ankle zip like The booty, the booty that's it's a high heel, but it's a
Uh-huh.
booty with the open toe and the potato foot.
I'm fine. That is my shoe of choice
That
right
okay,
now.
that's your shoe.
I would be so happy.
Sonique has on the patent leather Mary Jane high heel.
Uh-huh.
I clearly have on the plus calf fall boot from, this is probably a torrid fall boot with the comfortable, this is probably a comfortable 4-inch heel with the gusset in the back of elastic.
Gusset.
The gusset. But I quite like that boot, actually. I feel like if you're going to wear something black like that, you can, as long as you've elongated as much as you can. It's about your proportion storyline, I think.
I know what exact shoe, because you can't see the shoe because that dress like that I'm wearing like hit that length where it covers the shoe.
Do you have the
and
clears
I know
on?
mine's a clear. It is a
Yeah.
clear. I know it's a clear. There would be nothing else I would wear because that is a closing number. We were all together on stage, which means we were doing every man to his own individual taste. We say, but we don't wanna stand here and waste away. That's the last number, meaning that I had all the cocktails.
Right.
And the clears are my go-to as comfort, stability, and also height and
Now,
presence.
did your heel ever get caught in one of the in one of those how those boxes were stuck together? Not only did my heel get caught in there before, which is proof that once upon a time I wore stiletto shoes a lot, because if my heel was thin enough to get in there, that meant it was a high heel. But I remember falling off that stage completely.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if like literally I fell off. Like I walked off.
I've
And I'll never
done
forget that.
some dangerous things on that stage, and it was not a very stable stage. It was rickety. Remember that one year I decided for Halloween I was going to wear painters or drywall stilts?
Yes.
And I decided to try to walk upstairs in drywall stilts and do a number, which actually took me about a full yardstick above the ground.
Yes, it did.
And I had never worn them damn shoes, and so that
Well, you were convinced that
I was going to do it. Yeah.
It was just not going to be an issue. You were like, I got this. It's fine.
What are you doing?
Which
to your
I
lip now?
appreciate. I like that. I like that fearlessness. I admire that about you, and it's something that we admire different things about one another. But the fearlessness that
I could never do it again. I am.
But you did it at one point. You did it at one point.
Yeah, I could never do it now.
You know who I always think about, like Morgan. Morgan's one of those people that we're close friends, and I admire her fearlessness when she performs. Like she's never, I'm an old lady, so when I go somewhere to perform, I'm like, what does the stage look like? What's the dressing room like? Where do I park? What's this? What's that? But Morgan will show up and she'll put on whatever she wants to put on, and when she bolts out there, it's like, oh. You mean I have to descend 2 staircases in front of everyone and they're lucite stairs? Cool. And then she's like, "Oh, you want me to climb a rope up? Cool." And I would like, you've seen me go somewhere and go, "Boop, I'm out. Bye." And people are like, "Where's she going?" "She's not working." "Why is she not working?" "Because you didn't tell her what it was like."
Yeah,
and, I'm nuts.
There was this place that I performed at with Morgan in Orlando that closed many years ago called I believe it was called Mr. Sister.
I've heard
And
of
the
that.
stage itself was a jungle gym.
Oh my
It
God.
had a pole, it had a thing you could climb down, it was a stage that you could go above the bar, and it was another thing and another level, and Morgan worked that space like a master, and
Oh,
I was only able to stand in one spot,
Mhm.
do my thing, and that's about it.
Yeah, she's just like a little fire, like a cat that like gets wet or something, and she's like, and she doesn't care, like she's not afraid of it, and I admire that. But I admire that, like you said, when you wore the stilts, I admire. There's something about fearlessness that I don't have a fearlessness about myself, so I admire that when I see it in other people, especially when I know it's authentically them, it's authentically their thing. They're just not afraid. They're like, I'm just gonna do it. Anyway.
I love myself a Morgan wet cat moment. But we show so many pictures of Rage, and I'm going to miss that space as a space that I loved to perform at. I'm going to miss a lot of the performers too. Kiwi, speaking of Day of the Dead, sorry to bring up the dead again, but Kiwi is a person that I will definitely miss. And at this time of year especially, I just want to give some shout out and love to Kiwi,
and Hunter
and
and
the people
Marilyn.
and Marilyn and the people that were part of this troupe of performers. And I was so lucky at that time in my life to be considered and included into this group of very talented performers. And some of them aren't there. And if we could possibly dedicate one episode to any of the people that we've lost this year or in the past, or the people that have uplifted us and allowed us to be the performers we are, this should be the one. And so
Absolutely.
this photo and these moments that we bring up from Rage and anything that I've done with the Dream Girls has really takes me there. And
I agree.
yeah, and I miss my sisters, and I appreciate and love what they've done for us, and never forget. If I had a 40 right now, I would like tip it to the ground and let them have a sip. They to all my homies out there.
Billie Jean is everywhere. We will be invincible.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we are we're at the end of it. I mean, this is the end of this episode, but
That was
this is not the
fast.
I know it's not the end of the fun though. I mean, we're gonna be right back with another episode. So but thank you all for listening to Vary That. We vary that with Delta and Raja, or it could be Raja but it's Delta and Raja just because my name comes first, because we know the alphabet around here.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Honestly, no, our episodes come out every Monday, so you can
Yeah.
subscribe. We would appreciate you subscribing and rating it, because that's how people find out about our podcast. If you
And tell more people about it. If
yeah.
you just want to, there's just if you're gonna be on your phone anyway, just like fucking either watch us on YouTube or just listen to it. It's a wonderful alternative to all the bullshit that's going on in the world. Just tell your friends about us, and if you're today again, I keep saying it over and over again. This is Day of the Dead. Just today, make that the day of reminding yourself of the people that are gone now, and the people that you love, and especially if you can, hug the people that you love now, or give them a call, text them, tell them that you appreciate that they are there. Give them hugs from wherever you're at, and send them all good vibes.
I believe that. And also too, some of these people we mentioned, if you have photos that you've been to our shows with me and Raja, and you have pictures of me and Raja and Kiwi, or the Dream Girls, or Marilyn, or Hunter, or remember back when we used to do sassy events with Livonia, who's no longer
Livonia.
Yeah. Any of that stuff, email us, send us a message to Delta and Raja at gmail.com, and we will get those messages, and we would love to share that stuff with everyone, because it's a lot of fun.
Yes, we love hearing from you. Send it all. Send us your comments. Send us don't send suggestions. We're gonna do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, don't tell everybody what to do.
Yeah,
not too much.
Suggestions can suck a fart out of my asshole.
Yeah, not too much.
But you know what? Love. We just want love, some memories, and just questions.
Just
anything
touch love, just a touch of love.
Just touch love.
Just a touch. Love has been on my mind. Listen to me. All right, we'll be back on Monday. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Sutanam Rule, Delta Work at Instagram. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Forever Dog.
To listen to Vary That ad-free, sign up for Forever Dog Plus at foreverdogpodcast.com/plus.
Vary That is produced by Forever Dog and Moguls of Media, aka M.O.M.
Hosted by Delta Work and Raja.
Music, sound design, and editing by Will Pitts.
Produced by Big Dipper.
Executive produced by Willem Belli, Alaska Thunderfuck, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey.